Hello everyone, my name is Loco, and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. You probably didn't know, it was Loco. Yeah, I know. Nobody would recognize me just based off of the accent and, you know, maybe whatever alone. Nobody would be able to. Anyway, spotted right here in the top right-hand corner. Today's best of 3 series. Playing with the Red Terran SCVs, requesting a quick little pause. We have none other than the Gumi God. His opponent, a man who has been bullied lately by players like GuMiho. We have Solar. Now, Solar is a fantastic player in his own right, but he has been vocal lately about really disliking Cyclone builds. And I feel like ever since he posted that tweet, I've seen him play like 3 series before this one. Ever since he posted that tweet, people have been Cyclone rushing this man, which I find very funny. I mean, it's very mean too. It's definitely some high school bullying going on, but it's kind of ironic. So, effectively, this is a command center first right here for GuMiho. The Cyclone is currently bugged. The lock-on cooldown is much lower than it's supposed to be. And it's been that way for a while. And basically, Solo was like, yo, I'm getting really frustrated about playing this, you know, against this type of Terran style. Can we please fix it at Blizzard, right? Now, obviously, it's Blizzard. Nothing really changed. Maybe at some point they'll hotfix it. I don't know. But at least as of me casting this right now, it's not been resolved yet. And I feel like every single time that I see Solar play right now, somebody is Cyclone rushing the man. And this is GuMiho we're talking about. There is no way that GuMiho isn't gonna let an opportunity like this slide. Am I crazy? I don't know. I haven't seen this, but we'll find out together. GuMiho is very fond of all kinds of weird shenanigans. He is not shying away from mech in general. He plays it as like his go-to, and maybe he's the reason that Solar decided to post that little tweet in the first place. He decides though for a command center first, which is super greedy, honestly kind of risky. You can lose to a lot of stuff, but Solar is quite a predictable player. And I actually think that kind of works against him. I think when it comes to high-level Zerg players, Solar is probably the most predictable player at this point in time. Even players like, for example, Serral have started mixing it up a lot. Serral does do the occasional all-in, and he does mix it up quite frequently, actually, these days. Even if it's just like a pool first or something along those lines. Solar rarely does. I'm sure he's capable of going for an all-in or two, and I would love to see it. But I feel like we never do. I feel like we never do. So this is a hatch gas pool, quick Zergling speed, drones pulled out of gas, quick third hatch. There are a couple of Zerglings available. GuMiho, though, going quick command center first. Barracks on the back of it. Double orbital command. Third command center. This is one of those Terran builds that dies to literally everything that Zerg does in the early game as far as aggression goes. But at this point, it's a little bit too late already for Solar, who decides to just hold down the drone button. A little mind game being played here with Solar. Yeah, this is the type of stuff, right? If you do this build on the ladder, you will probably lose half of the games by now. Just if Zerg makes a big round of Lings early, you're kind of dead. Very difficult to hold on, but not the case in this particular instance, and GuMiho gets away with it. This is, of course, why playing series against, well, well-known players is really nice, because you get to adjust your builds depending on the opponent's tendencies, and this is going to be a 1-1-1 follow-up. Now, my question is, are we going to be seeing a second factory from here? I think we are. Yeah. Double refinery in the natural expansion immediately is a big indicator that he wants to add on 2 more factories. Right. Well, over here, I think, in a bit. Wouldn't be surprised. Solar's looking around the map. Can't really find too much. He wants to know if he has to prepare against Banshees, but he's already making a blind Spore Crawler. That Spore is very quick. Normal timing for a Spore is like literally like 30 seconds later. I'm not sure exactly why we're building them this quick. Maybe he's a bit concerned of like potential... I mean, he saw it was a CC first, didn't he? Or at least he must have been able to figure out the timings there, that everything was a bit greedy there from the Terran. Normal timing of this is like 4:35 or so is when you start it up. He decided to already go for them. Well, we do indeed have the factories building, not quite in the locations that I expected, because one of them decided to take up the tech lab immediately. Third base goes down to the low ground. We have Overlord speed on the back of this as well. There is the armory. I think this is actually going to be a Cyclone play. It looks like a Cyclone play for sure. If he goes armor upgrades first, it could also be for Hellbats, I guess, but he probably goes armor upgrades first. Yep, there it is. Poor Solar, man. Solar's like, guys, stop taking my lunch money. Now, last time I did see Solar play against this, though, he actually countered it perfectly. Ooh, I love the Raven. Raven's very cool. Yeah, so we're gonna go for an aggressive push against this. So he is at Lair Tech right now, but he doesn't have the Roach speed upgrade. Instead, we just got it for the Overlord speed, and he's gonna be using this as an opportunity to send the ladies straight across the map. So Solar is gonna try and effectively deny this before the push really gets underway. And at this point, there's really not a whole lot yet for the Terran. Like, how many units do we have? We have 2 Cyclones and a Raven, 8 Hellions. It's not a lot. So sending the Queens across the map, as we do have some Queen drop harassment over here too. This is really slowing everything down. Brenda! Why didn't you get in the plane when we told you to? We're not going back for you now. Should have been ready. Still though, the longer that this goes on, the better it's going to be for GuMiho. GuMiho at this point is in a very good position as far as the worker count goes. A lot of the SCVs already have evacuated the 3rd base. So yeah. This is going to be effectively a soft contain, as we already have droning here again for Solar. Going into a 2nd Evo, actually a 1st Evo, together with an infestation pit. And he is going to set out right over here, outside of the natural expansion of the Terran player, which I kind of love. I think actually just hanging out over here and trying to slow down the advancement. Nice pickup control too, breaking the line of the lock-on. Gets a Cyclone there for his troubles with the corrosive biles, not bad. Obviously, eventually, Terran will always break out of this. This is not a permanent setup by any means, but creep spread over here can be quite annoying. And as long as you don't lose literally everything, I think it'll be okay. Can we drop like a little bit of creep over here? Yeah. Brenda, poop! There you go. Don't have to say that twice. Oh, jeez. The whole crew decided to join in. Okay. Well, there is a Raven, actually. So... yeah, we knew that that was a Raven. That didn't do anything. Hive coming up for Solar, though, together with a Spire. So... I mean, we have seen Muta switches in the past, but I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to maybe go into, like, just a bunch of Corruptors for now, deal with the Banshees, and maybe into, well, Brute Lords eventually. Those Banshees are nice, though. Yeah, 3 Banshees. It's 2 volleys with 3 Banshees to kill 1 Ravager. That's math for you right there. It's good, though, because you can get rid of those units pretty rapidly if Zerg is not paying attention. Armor upgrades coming up. The Queens are going back in. Look at this. Queen, drop, harass. It's a bit weird. It's a little bit of a strange-looking hatchery, but... oh, transfuse, transfuse. Didn't transfuse in time. I don't think they actually were on creep anymore. With the Overlord being pushed away like that, you gotta hold position the Overlord. And that means that the Queens are going to die to the Zerglings. Or Zerglings? The SCVs, rather. And now we have a big fight over here all the way at the bottom of the map. Solar may have been able to force his opponent on 2 bases for a while. GuMiho has not really rebuilt the economy all the way yet, although he is adding on a new command center. Only 53 workers. It means that GuMiho needs to deal damage with this particular attack, and so far the base at the bottom of the map is looking very low. I think he can just get 1 lock on here and finish it off. We do have an Infestor coming up, so fungal growth could be amazing. Okay. Cyclone numbers, though, are still increasing. There's the fungal, slowing down the retreat of some of those units, but nice splitties there by the Gumi God. Okay, the base is going to fall. He decides to give up on it and rebuild a hatch over here on the left side of the map. There's the Greater Spire started up now with the Hive finishing. Not bad. Still, though, this is going to slow down the game a bunch, and that's exactly what GuMiho is looking for. Command center count is growing rapidly. Blue Flame upgrade a little bit late, if I'm being honest with you. That should have started up a while ago already. It's going to give Solar the time to now transition into those Brute Lords of his. Now, Brute Lords are good. There's this weird dynamic between like Cyclones and Brute Lords where like in like low numbers, Cyclones demolish Brute Lords, but if the Brute Lord numbers grow, at some point the Brute Lords will start demolishing the Cyclones because the Cyclones just can't get a lock on properly. It's all about the amount of Brutelings on the ground. I still love those Banshees out here, and I actually just did a volley there on one of the Infestors. Hyperflight Rotors coming up for GuMiho as well, so that is the Banshee speed upgrade. He's not adding on additional Banshees, but I guess the ones that he's got right now have deserved it. Maybe he did add on another one. Did he make? Yeah, he lost one of them. Okay. There's the Brutes, though, coming up. 6 of them. Now, we rarely see Brute Lords in modern StarCraft 2. I feel like it's one of those, like, ultimate endgame type of units, because they can be quite good if you need, like, a super sustainable army, but usually they're not very popular anymore in the current meta, so I'm not 100% sure how this is going to work out. I feel like if he wants to play Brute Lords, though, he needs more. 6 doesn't seem like enough. Additional factories coming up. Keep in mind that Terran can always go into a bunch of Thors. Thors are extremely uncommon these days, but Thors do outrange Brutes. Solar accidentally losing a bunch of Roaches here. Not ideal for him whatsoever. The Brute Lords are going to reveal themselves very soon. I think they will have to. Yep, there they go. We have a little hit squad of Brute Lords. Really? Is this the right play? Look at the Cyclones. The Cyclones are actually killing the Brutes with relative ease. He immediately decides to not add on any Thors. We just add on more Cyclones. Cyclones and a Viking, fair enough. Hydras are also added into the mix now to try and deal with any of those flying units. There's a Thor. When's the last time I've seen a Thor in a pro game of StarCraft 2? I feel like they're extremely rare these days. Keep in mind that the Thors benefit from the same upgrades as the Cyclones and then also, well, all of the other upgrades over here. And the Brute Lords are now effectively out, but they're at 0-0. So this entire premise of the transition, I feel like works better for GuMiho than it does for the Zerg player, as we do have some nice corrosive balls going down. The siege tanks are taken care of. The Cyclones, though, have decided to just ignore this army altogether. The hatchery does get blasted, but he's effectively now just doing a drive-by over here, sending all of the Cyclones around. We're doing a bit of sightseeing, it feels like. Fungal growth does slow down the retreat of some of those units. The other part, though, will just kill whatever they can. Can we get another hatchery? There's another big lock-on. Ay. It's like watching a bunch of swarm host locusts trying to kill that. That was so fast. And GuMiho drives home. Okay, well, he could have driven home with like 3 more of them, but built a command center on location as well. 5 Thors on the production tab. All right. There's the Brutes going in. So, once upon a time, years ago, Brute Lords outranged Thors. Blizzard was like, nah, and they changed it so that now Brute Lords get outranged by Thors. It's a weird combination, but they used to counter Thors. Nowadays, Thors counter Brute Lords. Since both units, though, are quite rare, the interaction is just not seen too frequently. But, I mean, if you have 10 Brute Lords going up against 10 Thors, and the Thors can actually get within range of firing and they're not obstructed or whatever, the Thors will absolutely decimate. Like, Thors absolutely destroy Brute Lords. Boom. Boom. Gotta be careful, though. Nice save there with that medevac, trying to keep the low HP units alive. Yeah, this is a balance change they made years ago at this point, when, like, the entire premise of the late game was different. Either way, Brute Lords are not very commonly played anymore because of it. And, jeez, they just got destroyed. There's still one of them remaining for now, but even the Cyclone might be able to just lock on and shoot it out of the skies. Lurker Den coming up now for Solar, but he is kind of running out of steam a little bit. GuMiho's got economy for days. His upgrades are still improving as well. Solar is now going back down from Brute Lords to Roaches again, which is never a sign of a player who is particularly comfortable. Thors are still pretty decent, by the way, against Roaches. Not so much against Hydras, but I don't think they're the end of the world. Siege tanks are going to be quite fine. Yeah, and this is just like a whole setup that flows way better for Terran than it does for Zerg. It's a lot of the upgrades that overlap mostly. I feel like if maybe the Brute Lord upgrades were a little bit smoother to gain, then it wouldn't be an issue. But since the Thors can spawn with the same upgrades as the rest of the Terran ground units here, and the Zerg starts those Brutes with 0-0, it's all a little bit messy. Now, those Blinding Clouds are excellent. Maybe some abductions here too. Nicely done. Siege tanks taken out of the equation. Solar really trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel and get as much value out of this army as is possible. The Gumi God, though, does not ever go down without a fight. I love the Medevac micro so much. He's still likely to lose at least one of the Thors. Yeah, we're gonna keep one of them around, I guess, for a little bit longer, but the supply count is so nice for the player with mech, and he has a load of command centers building too. GG gets cold as GuMiho obtains the victory in game number 1. I like that GuMiho really, decided to play that strategy though. Not only is he very good at it, and it's a perfectly legitimate style to play, but he also kind of like, he poked the sore spot. You know what I mean? He poked exactly where it hurt Solar the most. And that is the type of game that you can tilt over pretty easily, I think, there. As Solar. Because that was a frustrating one. GuMiho is gonna make more barracks by minute 1 in this game than he did in total in the previous game. There's a third SCV also coming across the map. Looking at the mini-map. So we are gonna go for a full all-in for game number 2. Good luck, Solar. Solar has an Overlord out. First OV went straight across the map, no surprise there. Second OV is protecting the natural, and he is sending it a little bit further out. Honestly, at this point, it's already going to be difficult for Zerg. Ideally, you shut this down before the Marines pop out, but it's way too late for that. This Marine is certainly going to spawn, and you can't really pull drones anymore to try and prevent these additional barracks from coming up. And Solar actually pulled the Overlord back a little bit before he could see it too. I don't think it was really cued in the right direction either, but now he sees the SCVs. So this will be all the information that he needs. There's Jimmy with his gun. Looking powerful. Drones immediately get pulled. We do have Link Speed. We do have Zorklings right now spawning, with the spawning pool being done. Spinecrawler coming up too. No mining though here for the Zerg, pretty much. There's a little bit still coming in the side of the main base, but he can only afford so much. Bunker here mostly as bait. It's a bait bunker. Not bad. New bunker coming up in the identical position, pretty much. Another cancel there. Only 25 minerals lost. Drones trying to see if they can potentially get a wraparound. GuMiho, though, just making a bunch of Marines all in one go. If he can shut down the Spinecrawler, that would be massive. That's what he's trying to bait out here. There are a lot of Lings out, though, so this is still manageable for Solar. It all comes down to the engagement. Bunker is not likely to finish up with the Spinecrawler in range. There we go. Cancel indeed gets used. And you know what? So far, crisis management here from Solar has been strong, but he did lose a lot of mining time. Yeah, so for about a minute there, GuMiho mined like an extra couple hundred minerals, which is potentially the difference between a win or a loss. He needs to make sure, though, that he sacrifices a bunch of those units, I guess, if he wants to push in, and that's dangerous. Second Spinecrawler, just seconds away from finishing right now. And we're just gonna add on more. Solar is planning on poking this man to death. It's just going to be Marines. Oh my god, we pulled the rest of the boys. Well, we have pulled the rest of the boys to tank the damage, so the men with the guns can actually deal the damage. Let's see. Here we go. SCVs in the front, Marines in the back. Nice manual targeting right there by Solar, who's trying his best to just prevent these units from going up the ramp, but GuMiho decides to bypass the spines altogether. He is obviously completely all in, but if he can kill every single drone here, he will be okay. I mean, he still has mules if he really needs additional income, and those drones are gonna have a very difficult time finding a new place to mine. GuMiho, with one of the dirtiest all-ins you can go for, has now reduced the worker count of Zerg to 1. He lost all of his own workers. But guess what he has? Mules. GG gets called. A filthy strategy right there by the Gumi God, showing us why he is still one of the scariest players in the entire game. I feel like GuMiho oftentimes gets overshadowed by some of those other Terrans, like, well, for example, Maru, like, for example, Clem, but it is, if you're a fan of high-level StarCraft, in my mind, pretty much impossible to not be a fan of GuMiho. It's so gross, it's so filthy, but all the strategies he plays are absolutely brilliant.